You are on the platform. This is my last day for a week or so. But boy, it's busy. It is busy. Where do I start? Let's start with Christchurch City Council, which in one of the most ridiculous, futile, narcissistic displays of collective virtue signalling yesterday, passed a motion to boycott companies that might do business with Israeli settlements in the occupied territories. Just how they define occupied territories, I'm not sure. There are no Israeli settlements in Gaza. And there is quite a patchwork of areas on the West Bank. But it makes no difference because one can rightly assume that Christchurch City Council doesn't do any business. Well, what are they? They're not going to have soda stream or hummus at their cookie pushes, at their cocktail parties. What a complete waste of time. And it seems to have been driven by terrorist-supporting grifter John Minto and his mates. And I saw, and look, this was reported really well by Chris Lynch. No one else has got the story. Chris Lynch media reported this yesterday. And apparently people took Stop the Genocide flag and put it in the council chambers yesterday. That is absolutely appalling. There's not a genocide in Gaza or the West Bank. It is nowhere near a genocide. And that a council should perpetrate such falsehood is absolutely disgusting. I don't know how far the Christchurch City Council will go. Maybe you just look for Jewish or Israeli businesses in Christchurch and paint a Star of David on it and get Jewish people to wear a yellow star when they go around Christchurch, just so you can all feel like you're terrorists. Maybe wearing the tea towel should be compulsory. I say, Christchurch, what a dark day for your city. What a dark day for your city when you back the agitators like Minto, the terrorist supporters like Minto, ahead of a democratic country that is responding to decades of unprovoked attacks from a people who have largely brainwashed all of their children for generations into being killers and seeking themselves the genocide of the Israeli people. So Christchurch Council, what a bunch of numpties. Geez, that's more reason to put in a commissioner than anything else, I would think, or an observer. All right, I've got that off my chest. I also want to talk this morning about the lefty legacy media and the Labour Party and all the pearl clutchers who are still trying, 6 days on, they are still trying to land a hit on Andrew Bailey after his visit to Spy Valley Wines, as we understand, where we can assume that a worker had a crack at him and he had a little bit of a crack back. He then went and had a drink, a wine, because it was a vineyard, a wine tasting, and he went back to the worker and said, oh, come on, come and join us for a wine, no hard feelings, and the worker wasn't good enough. Well, who is this worker? Well, clearly this worker's identity is known to his union and to many in the media who are refusing to divulge it. But activist, non-journalist Mikey Sherman, the diversity hire who got the political editor's job at Television New Zealand, did her normal propagandising last night. And shock horror probe, we find that the complainant, the professional complainant, the I'm so offended complainant, no snowflake, former Defence Force employee, and we can assume Māori because they've told Mikey, who I'm sure knows their identity, that they were involved in like Māori concert parties doing hakas for the Defence Force in front of royalty and repatriating bodies from the Korean War back to New Zealand. But that would have been more contemporary. So we're not dealing with a little snowflake here. We're dealing with a Māori radical. And I can speculate all I want because this person won't reveal their identity and they're being protected by the Labour Party, the Māori Party, and the legacy news media. So this person, military service, that doesn't make you any less of an asshole, my dear sir. And the hilarious thing was, Mikey, with a great flourish, doing her advocacy journalism on TV1 last night, makes this claim without maybe doing a Wikipedia search on Andrew Bailey. And if you're going to play the because I was in the military, I'm somehow morally superior, I'd just remind you that Andrew Bailey served with the Territorials here and then went to Britain and joined the Parachute Regiment, one of the elite forces of the British military, and rose to the rank of Major. And I know damn well who I'd rather have in a foxhole next to me. Not the anonymous cry-bully from Spy Valley Wines, but certainly a guy who would offer me a drink and probably say, let's take some of the buggers with us on our way down. So absolute own goal by TVNZ, Mikey Sherman and the Labour Party yesterday. I didn't know that about Andrew Bailey. I knew he was in the Territorials, but also, folks, a major in the Paras. And it doesn't get much elite and a higher level of service than that, does it? So, you know, I got upset working overtime at the MP. I once did a haka in front of Prince Charles and helped repatriate some bodies from South Korea. Doesn't really stack up against Major in the Paras, does it? Miss. Absolute miss. I hope when I come back from holiday that story's over. But, I mean, Chippy looks increasingly desperate and Labor look increasingly desperate to make it stick. And because 33% of you don't trust the legacy media, they're on the loser and they can't convince you there's a real story there apart from the faux outrage of the worker concerned. And once again, I invite you, mate, whoever you are, wherever you're hiding, whatever rock you've crawled under, you can ring this program 0800 332283 and explain what really happened, rather than your highly politicised, defamatory version of events that has not been properly challenged by anyone in the mainstream media.